The title of this podcast is It's a You Thing. This is inspired by several talks that I've given recently. And the title of those talks have been It's Been a Good Run. How a daily well-being intervention can make this true for you every day. The idea is that at the end of each day, if I've worked on myself, I want to be able to say that it's been a good run today. So that if I didn't wake up the next day, there would have been no regrets, none, before I went to bed that night. I'd have felt like no matter what happened, I was able to serve that moment to the best of my ability. And I was able to be rooted in a practice that allowed me to really grow, learn, and hopefully make a positive contribution to all the interactions that I had throughout the day and deal with the situations that arose in the best possible way with my higher self. So I've been very fortunate that over the last 8 years, I've been able to say that consistently almost every single night, and almost without exception. And that's because of my commitment to doing this well-being practice every single day. I start out in the morning with it, and then I apply it throughout the day. And because experiencing life and consciousness this way is so important to me, I know that I can't take a day off, and why would I want to? Because, and also I know what it's like to not have this practice alive and active in my life, and I live that way. Hence the title. It's a you thing. When I first moved to Yuma, Arizona, as part of my obligation and commitment and honor to serve in the United States Marine Corps, when I did that, it was not what I had put down on paper. It was not part of the life plan that I laid out at 18 years old. My plan included staying in Tennessee, but life took me to Arizona, and the heat and everything else, but mostly my unfulfilled expectations caused me a lot of suffering. Now, I had a buddy who was also stationed in Yuma, Arizona for the 4 years. And unlike me, he never complained. He traveled and explored all little towns and cities all over Arizona. He made frequent trips to the Grand Canyon in Mexico. And over that 4 years, he got his bachelor's degree. Whereas when I finished at the end of 4 years, I only had one semester of college. And I spent the 4 years mostly complaining and finding a lot of fault with life and the people that were my leaders in the Marine Corps. And that's certainly one way to do it. But the other 18 to 22-year-old friend of mine, Peter, chose to live life a different way while in Yuma. And so when I reflect back on that, now that I have a well-being practice, it wasn't the heat in Yuma that caused me the suffering. It wasn't the leadership that made life tough on me. It wasn't the different activities that you can do in Yuma and the different sites you could see that were different than what I grew up with in Tennessee. It was me. It was me and my troubled mind and my psyche that needed it to be a different way than what reality said it was. And so this was a you thing, Keith. It wasn't all these external forces in the form of people and situations or locations. It was me. And I tell people that right now, that in their lives, if you're not loving life, even with the challenges that you may be facing, if there's something that you can't find that is good about life, it's not life, it's you. And that's what I've learned about me. Because I would have, with the way that I was showing up in life, with the lack of attention and commitment to working on myself, I would have been troubled wherever I was. There would have been something. I forgot about all the times in Tennessee that I was miserable and suffering. I forgot about all the vacations that I ruined because it wasn't the way that I thought it should be. Either I didn't get the bedroom that I thought I should have gotten at the lodging, or it didn't look like the pictures. There may have been a delay on the flight to the vacation destination, or my snowboard didn't make the flight. That's a me thing that caused me suffering instead of accepting reality and choosing to make the most of whatever showed up. The same thing goes with family and friends and colleagues. If I'm not enjoying my experiences, regardless of how they show up, that's a me thing. I tell people who work at Mayo Clinic that we have an amazing organization, that at every turn they're doing things to really provide the best experience for our patients as well as the people that work there. There's so many opportunities as an employee to grow, to expand, and to work at the full scope of your credentials. It's unbelievable how many opportunities are there. And they continue to introduce new opportunities and programs based on feedback from staff. And so at Mayo Clinic, if you're not having a great time there, that's not Mayo Clinic. That's you. And the relationship that you're in with all the challenges that some relationships present, if you're not feeling loved and being turned on all the time, you need to look and see, is it you? At least in relationships where it is absence of abuse, physical, emotional, or verbal abuse, there's something there that makes it special if you will let go of it needing to be a certain way, or your partner needing to be a certain way, or your family member needing it to be a certain way for you to be okay inside. And once I started to accept people for exactly as they are, for who they are and who they aren't, I was able to enjoy the relationships and our times together much more fully. And so that wasn't the other person, that was me. And I grew up in a childhood that was challenging. But because when my stepfather wasn't around with his unpredictable behavior, I was still thinking about him as if he was there. And in doing so, I was missing out on like deepening my relationship with my brother, having more connected and special moments with my mom and my friends. I was missing out on all of that. That was me. Now, you might say that as a young kid, Keith, that's understandable. You didn't know any better. Well, how do you explain me continuing to do that at age 20, in my 30s, in my 40s? How do you explain that? When I'm out, when I'm no longer in those environments, I'm still carrying on the traumas and the scars from the past, even though I can't do anything about the past. That was a key thing. So once I started to let those things go and started to be rooted in the present moment, what I found was, man, life is beautiful. A lot of people got tripped up during the pandemic. I had a well-being practice, so I didn't. And so in the face of all that uncertainty, in the face of daunting challenges, there was so much good that was there too that I got to experience as well. And I learned from the challenges. And when people that I'm close to were sick, I was able to experience my compassion going out to them and their gratitude for me sending it their way. So even in those moments, there was something special and beautiful about allowing and observing my heart feeling all of that. So wherever you are in life, if you're not like really enjoying the experience, which means the ups and the downs, if you're not enjoying that, consider it might be a you thing.